Hey guys, Simon Bryson here, and today we're going to talk about exactly, is it a good idea to go out there and pay off your mortgage early, or for example, should you focus on just investing and not trying to pay anything off early? And by the way, yesterday I was on Instagram, I saw a tweet by Ramit Senti on Instagram, because everyone posts their tweets on Instagram now, and the whole idea is basically that when it comes to your mortgage paying it off early, usually it's not going to be a good idea when it comes to doing the math of how much money you'll actually have when it comes to your investments. However, Dave Ramsey says, hey, yeah, that might be true, but in reality, you have this large payment of your mortgage. You also have free cash flow once you pay it off. And on top of that, you don't run the risk of basically having that big mortgage over you. And now you can have a lot more money to go ahead and basically invest or save or do whatever you actually want to do. But me personally, guys, I like to go ahead and think for myself. And once I get the information, the knowledge, I go out there and run the numbers. That way I fully understand everything and come up with a plan that makes sense for me. And that way I'm not just following common rules out there that's for everyone, but might not actually be for me or might be actually for you. So today, we will run the numbers together and find out if it's a good idea to pay it off early, or for example, should you focus on just investing, okay? Now, if you guys are new to the channel, guys, I post videos every single day, so also subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and on top of that, also destroy the like button and leave a comment down below. That helps a lot with the channel, so thank you guys so much, okay? Now, the very first thing, guys, is I want you guys to know this one thing, okay? Don't forget that by even asking this question right here, whether you pay it off early or you invest, you're actually ahead of a lot of people. Because again, the average person is living paycheck to paycheck, doesn't have money for emergencies, and on top of that, is most likely not investing in anything whatsoever. So by even asking this question, you are ahead of the average person by far. And even for example, if you don't have the money to buy a house, or you don't have a house, you don't even have a job right now, but you're asking these questions right now, it is not a bad thing. It is great. This way you can actually have a plan. But if you do have a good job, and you also have, for example, a home already, and you want to figure this out, the answer is then great. That's awesome. You're on the good track here. But the idea is that whether you are there or not there, asking these questions basically shows that, hey, you are ahead mentally of a lot of people out there. So for that, I give you a clap and a congratulations, okay? Now, let's run the numbers and get started fully with this video. Now, for all my visual learners out there, okay, in this video, I will give you 3 examples. On top of that, I will show you everything on my screen right here. That way you can see everything I'm doing to get these numbers and potentially do it yourself with your own numbers. Now, these examples right here are 3 examples using, for example, the 33% rule, which basically means, hey, whenever you go out there and you buy a property, you want to make sure your budget is 33% of your monthly income. That way, including the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, the HOA fee, the maintenance, the PMI potentially, okay, private mortgage insurance, all of that added up, all expenses cannot add up to more than 30% of your monthly income. So that's going to be the budget for the entire example I'm going to give you guys in this video. On top of that, in these examples, is the same amount of income for all of them. So in this video, this person right here is making $4,000 a month and their budget is going to be $1,320. Example 1 is going to be, hey, I go ahead, I get a 30-year mortgage with my budget, okay, and I don't pay it off early, and I just go ahead and basically invest 30% of my income. Example 2 is, I get a 15-year mortgage following the same budget, okay, but I pay off 15% extra towards the mortgage, but I also go ahead and invest 15%, okay? What happens then? On top of that, example 3 is, I'm scared of debt, so what I'm gonna do is basically, I'm gonna pay all the extra money towards the mortgage, don't invest, and once I'm done with the mortgage, I go ahead and focus on investing out. Which one will come out ahead, okay? That is what I'm going to show you in this video. Now, let's run example number 1 and the math behind that right there, okay? The whole thing is, again, we make $4,000 every single month, okay? On top of that, our budget is 30% of our monthly income. So it's only around $1,320 we can actually use towards buying a property. Now, right here on the screen is an entire mortgage calculator to run all of the numbers. Now, the cool thing is basically that I already know these numbers, okay? So with this budget, I can only go ahead and afford a $310,000 property, okay? On top of that, remember, I'm putting down 20%, So that's around $62,000. And it shows you right here, hey, your payments are going to be around $1,319. Now again, there is a lot going on here, but only pay attention to these three things right here, okay? My monthly payment right here, also the amount of money I'm spending, and also remember, it is a 30-year mortgage. That is the only important thing right here. And again, it's only 33% of my monthly income. So now, if I go ahead and say, well, Tommy, I'm going to go ahead and invest 30%, okay, of my income towards my investments. I'm not going to pay anything extra towards this mortgage right here. What is going to happen? Well, by the way, guys, before we get there, remember, okay, you're going to finish with this mortgage in 30 years. So by 2051, a very long time from now, and also you will be paying them somewhere around $129, almost $130,000 in interest. That is the profit they're actually going to make, okay? I'm going to zoom in here. That way you guys can see everything here, okay? But that's the idea. It's going to cost you a lot of money in the long term. Keep that in mind. Now, if we go over here and we say, hey, we're going to start off with $0. And by the way, this right here is called a compound interest calculator to figure out exactly how much money we're going to have invested over that 30-year period while we don't pay anything extra towards our mortgage, okay? Now, here is the idea, guys, okay? If we invest 30% of $4,000, okay, every single year, that's going to be around $14,400. That is the math right there. On top of that, if we're going to invest this money over a 30-year period at a 10% return, how much money will you have? The answer is somewhere around $2.6 million. So although you paid $130K in interest, right, you still get to get around $2.6 million in your entire investment account. And to me, that is awesome, okay? It's awesome, it's awesome, it's awesome. But again, you do take on the risk that basically for 30 years, you gotta be perfect. For 30 years, you gotta basically start investing this amount of money. For 30 years, this is a lot of sacrifice because in reality, you're investing 30%, your home payment is like 33%, so that's 63% almost gone right there. And then you can live off basically like, what is it, like 37% of your actual money to actually go out there and pay for everything else. So keep that in mind. It is a lot of sacrifice for that 30-year mark. Now tell me, all right, that is example A. But what would happen if I said, well, I'm gonna get a 15-year mortgage, same budget here, but I'm gonna pay something towards the mortgage plus something towards my investments. What exactly is going to happen here? Well, let's go ahead and run the numbers, guys, okay? Again, when it comes to getting this mortgage right here, we're gonna transfer from a 30-year mortgage to a 15-year mortgage. Why? Because this way, the goal is for this plan is to pay it off early and be done with it. Plus this way, you actually limited to how much house you can buy, which means a lot cheaper also. Now, what is my budget? So my budget is going to be around $203,000. Again, my monthly payment is $1,323. I'm over budget by $3, but that is fine. I'm not gonna complain here. And again, we're putting down 20%, so only around 40K. 20K less than we would need with the entire 30-year mortgage. Keep that in mind, because again, you're buying a more expensive house, because again, when you extend it for so long, you get to buy something more expensive, because basically your payment is gonna be shorter, but in reality, you're gonna pay more money when it comes to the interest. So in this case, guys, okay, keep in mind, you're going to be done by 2036, so 15 years earlier. However, you're only gonna be paying somewhere around, in this entire equation, around 40K when it comes to interest towards the actual bank. So basically, they don't make that much money off of you, which is actually awesome. However, if we're going to go ahead and invest 15%, but pay 15% here, the answer is 15%, okay, of 40,000 is $600 every single month. So right here, we're gonna pay an extra $600. And by the way, I love this website right here. It's very simple to actually use, which means, hey, we finished now in 2030, which also means, hey, we only have to pay the bank around 23K. So basically, we slice their profit in half, and we also get to finish our mortgage in 9 years. But again, that is not all here, okay? Yes, we're saving money here. And by the way, remember, okay, last time on the 30-year mortgage, we paid 130K in interest, but in this example right here, we're only paying around 23K, a massive difference. However, we're also going to go ahead and invest, okay, for those 9 years, only 15% of our actual income. Now, by the way, tell me why 9 years? Because again, okay, it's only going to take us 9 years to be done with our entire mortgage. So if we start off again, just with $0, okay, and we're investing every single year, $600 per month, that's around $7,200 every single year. So again, $7,200 a year. Well, guess what happens? Over 9 years, how much money will you have here? Well, in reality, same math here, guys, okay? Nothing is different, okay? You would have around 107K. However, though, guys, okay, once you're done with the mortgage, well, now you can go ahead and basically invest the extra 15% you put towards the mortgage as a total. So now you can actually go ahead and invest 30% of your income. So that's going to be, again, around $14,400. However, that's not all. Here's why. Because guess what? You no longer have a mortgage anymore, which means you can actually go ahead and invest an extra $1,123, which basically means every single month you get to invest $2,323, which means, guys, okay, for the next 21 years, okay, because again, the goal is just a 30-year mark. We took us 9 years, meaning we have 21 years to go out and invest and basically compete with the 2.6 million we got in example A. Now, the idea is, well, we actually get to go ahead and invest $27,876 over that 21-year mark, okay? Now, how much money will we have? And by the way, remember, we also got to invest and actually have built up 107K by investing over those 9 years while we're also paying extra towards the mortgage. Now, the math says we're actually going to have somewhere around $2.7 million. So that's around 100K more than example A. That also means we're paying a lot less money in interest also. But more importantly, that's not the main thing here, okay? The main thing is basically we get to have 21 years of being mortgage free and still have, for example, more money than the other person. But tell me, yeah, but you have to invest a lot more money. The answer is kinda, but in reality, you don't have to pay the bank that money anymore. It goes straight into your investment. So that way, you no longer have the risk, okay, of having a mortgage default. And on top of that, if you lose your job, guess what? Your expenses are not that high anymore. Because in reality, you don't have the shelter costs, that housing cost anymore, which is also very important. However, there's one last example I want to give you guys, okay? And that is example C, or example 3. And that is for someone that's basically scared of debt and says, hey, Tommy, I just don't want any debt whatsoever. So again, it's the exact same numbers here, okay? 203K, monthly budget is this, 15-year mortgage. However, the main difference is, hey, we're going to go ahead and basically pay the full 30% towards our entire mortgage. Again, that's going to be around $1,200 every single month being paid towards this mortgage. How long will it take? The answer is, guess what? You would be done by around 2027. So basically in 6 years, a lot faster than everyone else. And also, you would only be paying somewhere around 16K in interest, so meaning the bank doesn't like it that much because basically you're not paying them that much money, honestly. But here is the main difference. That means also you have 24 years to try to catch up with everyone else. And again, you invested nothing for the first 4 years. Well, for the first 6 years, okay? That's the main difference here. Now, let's go here and run the numbers here. Again, we started out with $0, okay? However, we can now go ahead and invest $27,000, okay? The full amount, the mortgage plus 30% for the next not 21 years, but actually 24 years. And guess what happens, guys, okay? The math says in that time period, you would have somewhere around $2.7 million. So a little less than the first one, but a lot more also still than the a little less than the second one, but still a lot more than the first one. Now, the big difference is, again, okay, you get to have 24 years of being mortgage free and not having that big risk over you anymore. Now, obviously, guys, okay, all three of the examples are great examples, great financial plans here, okay? If you do the first one, yeah, for 30 years you have a mortgage, but in reality, if you're investing, no big deal. But if you ask me, Tommy, which one would you prefer? The answer is obviously, I prefer example B. You know, the idea of you pay extra while you also invest, and then you just invest the rest of the money. That way, you have a lot of money in the future. But this way, for 21 years, I don't have a mortgage. I don't have to worry about that whatsoever. And to me, that is a massive thing. So you got to ask yourself, hey, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to go out there and say, hey, I am mortgage free for the next 21 or 24 years? Or do you want to have that big expense right there for 30 years? Because again, the big problem is, hey, if you lose your job, it's a problem. But if you take the sacrifice and say, hey, for these 6 years or 9 years, I'll pay it off in full and invest the rest of the money, that's fine. If you lose your job, you can still manage to pay that tax and the insurance on the property and the maintenance, okay? It's not that much money. But when you have that whole mortgage right there, it's a big expense and can basically cut into everything. Now, if I'm being honest, guys, okay, remember, the average person is not doing 1 or 2 or 3. A, C, or B, whatever it is. They're not doing that whatsoever, okay? What they're doing is basically, they're going out there, they're buying a house that's way too expensive. They can barely afford to invest anything. And usually, they're living almost paycheck to paycheck. So whether you do A, B, C, it all depends on your risk tolerance and also the type of freedom that you actually want to have. I personally rather have, for example, 21 years of being mortgage free. And by the way, for everyone that might say, Tommy, yeah, but why not just basically get the 15-year mortgage, the same budget on a 30-year mortgage? Because in reality, most likely when things do happen, you'll miss a few payments here and there. I'd rather be forced into, there's no option here, to go ahead and pay that off as fast as possible. In reality, because it's only 33% of my monthly income, it's probably not going to happen. I'm probably not going to be forced into anything crazy, but the idea is I'd rather have that strict budget. That way, I don't have to think about it every single month, okay? Now, lastly, guys, I do want to mention one last thing here. I am aware of inflation, but I'm also aware that basically for the next 21, 24 years, I have no mortgage. And on top of that, guess what? I also have a big investment nest or a big nest egg, whatever you want to call it, okay? And that to me is a lot better than having, for example, a budget, well, a mortgage for the next 30 years. By the way, my grandfather did this, okay? And the only investment he has is just that property right there, because usually people don't really invest enough. Their big investment is into that property. And they hope that when they retire, they sell it and they can have that money right there. Or basically, their very low expenses, Social Security, little things right here, and that way they can cover their expenses. But this way, if you do either of these right here, either of these three, you'll be fine. But I prefer to have, for example, either 2 or 3 or 4, which is basically just pay for cash for the house and you're done with it and just invest the rest of the money, which is a possibility also. But I'll probably just do 2 and just be done with everything that way in 9 to 10 years or potentially 6 years, depending on what your income actually is. But guys, comment down below and let me know exactly. Tell me, I agree with you, I disagree with you, I don't like this plan, or whatever it is. The answer is comment down below and let me know. And by the way, one benefit of getting the 30-year mortgage is also that basically you get to buy a little more expensive house to actually have for a longer time or whatever it is. But, you know, there's still a lot of risk when it comes to having that mortgage looming over you for the next 30 years. Okay, so comment down below. Let me know, do you agree with me or do you actually disagree with me? Comment down below. Let me know. On top of that, also, if you're new here, like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. And if you want to call me and talk to me directly, well, schedule a call. Link down below on my 3rd channel called the Ask Tommy Bryson channel. On top of that, also, guys, if you want to DM me on Instagram, here's my Instagram right here. And also on top of that, if you want to join me on Patreon, link down below and see my whole portfolio and what I actually invest into. If you want to watch more content, more videos, here's a video right here. Click my face right here. See you guys tomorrow. And as always, peace.